You know, it's like I was saying, regular show is the other white meat. Oh, hey guys! Welcome back to another edition of Pop Culture Network.
The show.
The show. Here we have for you another exciting, action-packed, non-stop thrill ride adventure show. And today, we've got a look at the Injustice action figures from DC Collectibles. We're going to have a small little fireside chat about the Ouya game console. Ooh. And we're going to talk about your favorite new thing in the entire world, in the history of mankind, that you were willing to give your blood, sweat, tears, and every last dollar you have for. And what is that?
Crack cocaine. Trading cards. So, which, is a lot of our childhood's crack cocaine.
And actually, that is a fair comparison.
And we'll explain that. So, we'll explain that, but not fully, so you're left with questions. Yep. That's how we do. That's how we do here.
So here you go, guys. Here's another episode of Pop Culture Network, the show.
Let's do it! He can dance, too. He can dance. He can dance.
I've had enough!
He can do his thing, but do. And if you don't dance, and if you don't dance, now friend of mine.
For only $17.99, you too can have a complete set of trading card masterpieces.
What?
Call the number on your screen. So what are we doing?
Well, we thought we would talk about something that we feel that is coming back, or I feel is coming back. I don't know how you feel. I don't know how you feel. But as you may know, during the height of the 90s, the collecting craze, there was all kinds of comic books and toys just being mass produced, and everybody was going crazy collecting, and millions of copies of everything was produced. Also, it seems like everybody was collecting trading cards. And once the market crashed and all that stuff in the late 90s, trading cards kind of took a big dive. There was nothing coming out.
It's kind of like the comic market. Same thing with comics. Everybody speculated, people were buying them in massive numbers, and then it all just kind of imploded. Same thing with trading cards.
Well, and now, there's probably from the late 90s through the 2000s a big just like void of trading cards. There were trading cards, but there wasn't that many. And now it seems like with the reemergence, the popularity of comic books again, and the popularity of being a nerd's cool, and this is nerdy stuff, it seems like they're coming back. And it seems like every TV show out there now, especially all the HBO shows, have their own trading cards. Of course, with the popularity of My Little Pony, we got cards coming out for that. The Garspell
kids are back.
So I think we're going to see a reemergence of a lot of the vintage cards coming back. So I decided here at our store, Killing Enterprises, that we were going to reinvest back into trading cards. But I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to buy new cards. I mean, I will, but I'm going to buy vintage cards. Stuff that we had as kids from the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and bring them all back and make them available for people. Because I personally believe that trading cards are on the rise.
Now, I did a little research into trading cards.
Oh.
Do you know how trading cards started?
No, tell me.
Okay.
Tell me.
They started out
Wait.
What?
No, tell me.
Oh, yeah, they started out as trade cards. Now, do you know what the difference between a trading card and a trade card is?
Trading would be when you trade with somebody?
And
trade would be an industry?
No, in the late 1800s.
So yes, all right.
Similar to business cards, they would actually print images on small little pieces of cardboard and hand them out. So salesmen would walk around and hand out these little cards that would say, Coca-Cola or Ivory Soap or, whatever. And the full color ones, people started to really like having these little printed cards that were full color, and people just started to collect them. and they were trading them with their friends. And it was seriously in like New York City, San Francisco, some of the bigger metropolitan areas, these cards started to become collectibles. So then someone picked up on that and decided, well, it'd be great is if we put baseball players on these, and baseball teams could use them as a promotional tool, so you could have a card for each player on the team. And then once that started to steamroll into things, and the trading card market just sort of exploded in the 40s and 50s, and you got trading cards for suddenly all sorts of stuff. Once you got into the 70s is when someone said, hey, you know what? Every toy and movie and TV show and whatever should have trading card sets, and that seemed to pretty much just open up everything into the 90s.
So what you're saying is Coca-Cola invented trading cards.
Actually, it predates Coca-Cola, but that was one of the big ones that people liked. But yeah, they were just like business card size. They were small little cardboard cards that just had a printed picture.
Because if we're doing that, I got stacks of business cards again.
Yeah, once they made them into color, people really started collecting them and saving them. And so then, there you go. So we've got an assortment of cards here.
Yeah.
Were there particular ones you wanted to point out that were?
Yeah, I don't have any. I was just thinking about this.
What?
I need some Steve Urkel cards, man. But I don't have none of those. So, looking back at what some of the most popular properties of the day, which were basically the cartoons of the day, we have such things as the Ninja Turtles cards, obviously.
I remember buying those like crazy.
Yeah, how many people bought these? Everybody. That's the answer. And then so I'm looking online and I'm trying to bring back stuff that I thought would be cool to have again. And there was G.I. Joe cards. We got Alf cards, for Christ. Where does that come from?
Here's the G.I. Joe cards.
Yeah, and everybody I'm sure has a million of these.
And these actually came in a plastic pack as opposed to the wax pack. These that came with the wax paper that were sealed shut. After a while, they actually started mass producing them in these plastic packs, and that's what you see nowadays. That even carries through. Your modern cards that you pick up are in that plastic pack.
Let's talk about the wax for a second. Terrible. At the time, it was probably a good idea before, in the 1940s when people didn't steal. But as the ages went on and everybody's more likely to be stealing things, these wax packs, as you just apply a little bit of heat, they come loose. You could, a lot of people in the early days, in the 90s and 80s of the baseball cards, that's what they do. They would just open these, the dealers were, the dirtbag dealers, and they would take out all the good cards, put the ones back in there, heat them back up, and sell them. And I think that's what kind of probably stopped the whole wax pack deal, because people were getting upset that you could actually open these, take all the good stuff out, put crap back in it, and resell them, and no one would be the wiser.
It even got...
and there's gum in them.
Yeah. It even got to a point so crazy, we have a set here. These are the Pro Set Superstars of Music cards. And I actually had a bunch of these.
I had a bunch of them too.
And this brand, they also did ones that were Yo MTV Raps.
Yep.
And I had 3 complete sets of Yo MTV Raps because I kept buying those packs of those. I love Fat Five Freddy, Dr. Dre, and Ed Lover.
What were we doing?
That was my favorite shows.
What were we doing, man?
But these were the absolute worst. I think this is the cocaine at 4 o'clock in the morning, staring in the bathroom mirror, and going, "What the hell's wrong with my life?" When you
hit rock bottom, when you get the
Superstars of Music cards, you're like, "I gotta stop." There's something that's when it starts to go. But I'm kind of excited when I see stuff like this, like Dark Crystal cards.
Yeah.
Because I don't see those when you go to comic book conventions and stuff. That's something that you don't see very often. You find Garbage Pail Kids all over the place, especially now that they've come back.
Yeah, and turtle stuff, you'll see G.I. Joes. Those are pretty common.
Right, because people held on to those. But some of that stuff, Dark Crystal, Labyrinth, you don't always see.
Look at these. Dinosaur Attack cards.
And they just brought the comic back. You can get the comic right now from IDW. That's just to keep it from falling over.
Oh, well, that's putting... Yeah. So, here's a little tip. Here's a little tip for you guys that actually have display boxes. I like to do is take a piece of cardboard and stick it in the back of these to hold this up.
I just take a pack and stick the pack down in there to hold it up.
You could do that, but I'm afraid I don't want to bend the pack or the cards. But yeah, so that's a problem for you retailers out there.
I remember how excited I was when I was probably 12 or 13. I had a paper route and I could buy a box on my own, and I could open the box and just set this in my room. It's one thing to have a bunch of packs, but when someone comes over and you've got a whole display box sitting on your shelf.
Yeah, that's serious
I haven't even opened them yet.
That was like a whole month's allowance.
And I remember these when these came out. Bench warmers. This is just
cheerleaders, I guess.
Yeah, just cheerleaders wearing skimpy, tight clothing, and then the logo is just bench warmers here. But if you look at the side of the box, the W in bench warmer, that's her booty.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, fancy. And so, yeah, the cards, I think are again on the rise. And
although
what's fun right now is for me buying actual. Let's talk about this real quick. Now here's what's going on with today's card. So obviously properties like this is the Captain America movie that came out 2 years ago.
Yeah. So
they're producing cards now again for these, but now look how small the boxes have gotten. Like this is a sealed box now compared to a full 30. And this is what they're doing is
this is considered a full box, the same as this was a full box. They want to keep the price point low. So they just make it into a tiny box as opposed to a giant box like you're used to.
And of course, and so, a standard box back in the day was 36 packs. And that was, the average 8 cards pack, 36 packs. Now, what they're doing here is they're cutting them down now. There's 16 packs in a case, and they're only giving you like 5 cards. And what's really ridiculous about them is the price points on these are like, $2.99, $3.99 packs. And that's terrible. And when these cards came out, they were 50 cents. They were 50 cents a pack.
Yeah, like the Turtles has printed on the pack 59 cents.
Yeah.
This was a more expensive one, but this also had 11 cards and 1 sticker in the pack. So this was a big pack for back in the day. Alf came with gum, so it's a little bit thicker because it's got gum in there, but that's still 5 cards and 1 sticker and a stick of gum. And these were, I believe, a quarter. I think they were 25 cents.
No, they were 40. They were 45 because
I thought that was Alf. I thought it was Alf 2 was the 40.
But just to give you an idea, the late 80s through early 90s, they were anywhere from 40 cents to 60 cents a pack. And they started slowly going up in the 90s because, of course, the craze went up, so everybody raised the prices. And now, we got... Now we're in a little, past the 2000s, and now everybody wants to charge. It went from $1.99 to $2.99, or even stretching at $3.99. And some of the, like HBO trading cards where you can get actual autographs and signature and costume cards now, those packs are starting to get even $5, $6, $7 a pack.
And I remember the Panini sticker cards when they started invading your trading cards, and they still do these. They still have
that company still exists.
Pokemon, Bakugan, those type of anime properties still have the Panini cards. You can usually find them at Dollar Tree, Family Dollar, that kind of place. But we don't have any of the books anymore, though. It's so hard to find the books. You can get these packs of stickers lots of places, but the whole point was you had that big book. I remember the Voltron ones, of course, that I used to collect all the time, and you'd peel them and stick them in the book. The books are gone, but you can still find these stickers.
And thinking back on it, I think that was a terrible idea, the books.
Why?
Because, you're really ruining your cards, really.
But then you had the book, when you had the book, finished, you felt like you had something. Like you could go flip through it, and it was like having a storybook of the movie, or...
I don't know. As a collector, I never put my sticker cards on the books because I was always thinking, I feel like I'm defacing my card because you pull the sticker off, you stick it, and you throw the other part of it away.
Yeah, I always had that problem with Garbage Pail Kids. I never wanted to stick them on anything because then you lost what was on the back of the sticker. Another thing that popped up in the 90s is when they started doing the more modern movies is someone who was like the most intelligent person in the world said, hey, you know what? Trading cards are usually like this, but movies are widescreen. Why don't we turn the cards this way?
Mind blown.
And so then Addams Family, we got some Independence Day over there.
Yeah, and there was I remember Dragonheart.
Well, I was going to say the Star Wars movies did the super long for the massive widescreen.
Yeah.
Those are the wide vision cards.
Yeah,
just like
and so Topps started doing this, and they branded the term wide vision, and they did it for a lot of movies that were coming out. I mean, most notably that I remember was the Dragonheart movie because I had a ton of them.
We used to have a pack of the Star Wars ones sitting over here.
Yeah, and Star Wars and almost every major property during this time period, which was
well, it's all the big sci-fi movies.
96, so the late 90s. This was the big thing, and honestly, I hated this.
Why?
I hated it because why? Because I collected cards, and I had the books, and then you had the protected cases,
don't fit.
And then you have this.
Yeah.
The situation going on.
Well, it's like moving up to Blu-ray. It's like time to get a new player.
I was really upset because they changed the size of my cards, all my protective sleeves, and all the money I invested in all my protective care on my super valuable cards.
Oh, go grab that Dark Dominion binder that's sitting by Paper Wario. Can you grab that real quick? One thing that's also worth
I'm not your slave.
We talked about how it kind of fell at the same time the comic books were falling, and I remember this. Jim Shooter, when he left Valiant, started his own company called Defiant. And one of the things they did was they sold trading cards, and then they sold these binders. And what it was is when you collected the set of cards and you put it in the binder, you had the first issue of the comic book series. So it's actually number 0. This says November 1993. And so you would buy the packs of cards, and you would slide them in, and when you slid them in, you made a comic page, and then there was another comic page on the back. Oh. So you would actually go through. It was like reading an actual comic book, 2 pages all the way through, and then comic.
And then, awesomely enough, you couldn't find all of the set. And you could never read the comic.
Actually, Diamond, or actually I think it was Capital City Comics Distribution back in those days, you could actually order the binder with the set already filled in it. And that was like $20. So it's like $20 to get the 0 issue of the brand new comic, but for a collector's thing at the time, it was like, oh yeah, that makes sense, $20?
Yeah, but was the comic a big deal?
It was at the time, sure. You never know about it now, but back then it was.
Yeah. Time is not helpful to this.
Well, he's the guy who started Valiant. So then he left Valiant and he started this company, so it's like, oh, that's a big deal. And then it died.
So this is pretty much, I mean, in the major companies during the day, you know, there's Donruss, there was Topps, there's Fleer, there was the Panini. Well, I think Panini was part of.
Well, Panini was the Italian company, and then people would import them.
Yeah. Well, now they're their own independent company here, and they do have centers in the U.S.
I think like Fleer had them for a while. I remember Skybox. This was
Skybox, ProSet. There was Upper Deck. I mean, most of these companies still exist today. What else?
Did you ever get caught up in the whole I need the chase cards? Like you're buying it just for the chase cards, and then you don't care about the rest of them?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I never collect the sets. I would just open the packs and just get any foil cards. It was a guaranteed, win. And I did that at the same time that I was collecting this stuff, I was collecting the sports cards, which no one does anymore. No one really collects sports stuff.
Well, because you got the internet. I mean, if you really want to know someone's batting average, you can look it up online. You don't need his card.
All right. Well, do you think people really cared about the batting average?
Sports nerds.
I didn't. I never cared.
You know the people that come in here and talk about comic books? Okay, imagine them talking about cars or sports. It's the exact same thing.
Or having girlfriends?
Yeah.
Okay, now you're just...
Dude, okay.
Now you're just getting...
I don't want cooties, okay? That's what that comes down to.
What do I want a girl for?
I need to stay healthy.
I'm trying to save my money to buy more toys.
But, like, even dinosaurs, you had 65 collectible cards, including 50 television cards, 10 puzzle activity cards, and 5 trivia activity cards. So not only were there scenes from the show and the character profiles, but then they would also have, like, a scrambled picture. Can you figure out what the picture is? Or the names jumbled up, and you try to unscramble them.
Well, that's a good point. Did you ever if you had an activity card, did you actually deface your card?
If I had multiples. Like, I would save one good one, but then the other ones I would cut up or pop out or do whatever.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I mean, because I figured at a point I did start collecting.
Yeah, but you would scratch off the battle cards.
Well, that's different.
Why is that different?
That's different. And that's actually a different topic for another day. the collectible carding games, which is, its own thing. But yeah, this is what we're doing now in our store, and I think this is popular again, and I think a lot more people are getting back into cards.
One thing that's neat about
and it's infectious.
Garbage Pail Kids today is that it's 10 cards in a pack, so it's a pretty good pack. But they also every so often will take the printing plates from the actual cards being printed, and they'll instead of having 10 cards in a pack, they put the printing plate in there.
What?
Yeah. So you might buy a Garbage Pail Kids pack and open it up and get the actual printing plate that was used on the assembly line to print the cards.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So that's actually pretty cool when you can run into some of those. But again, you can just kind of pick up the packs and go, nope, not that one. It bends too much, Nope. And of course it's going to be like one in every 750,000 packs or something like that. So the odds of finding one are super rare. But they're going to be out there. Collectors are finding them, and that's cool.
So yeah, this is, like I said, this is what we're doing now, and just looking at the cards again, it makes me want to, brings me back into that point in my life where I'm like, that's what I did most of my childhood.
Well, what was your favorite sorting method? Like putting together sets? Did you put together sets, or did you not?
Yeah, well, I would, because after a while, I never bought a box. Like that just didn't happen. I just bought packs at a time, and I would buy them weekly, and when I opened them, I would just throw them in boxes, and then eventually, on a rainy day or whatever, I'd go through and start sorting out my cards. But I think the method I would use is, I I would split them up by the number. I mean, 1 through 10s, 20.
Oh, you did it that way.
Yeah.
See, I had this method where you would start with the ones digit. So if it was 89, that went in the 9 pile. If it was 72, that went in the 2 pile. And you would lay them all out that way. And then once you had those in order, you would pick up the 9s and put them on top of the 8s, on top of the 7s, 6s, 5s. And then you would start putting them by 10s. So your 80s, 70s, 60s, 50s. So then they would automatically sort. All your 9s were on the bottoms, your 8s were automatically on top, your 7s on top. So we actually used to do that a lot in the old comic book store, where we would open up the packs and then sit there and drop them into, the bins. After a while, we started using those cardboard boxes for storage and just put the dividers in there so they were about the right size. So you would just take them and you were just kind of dropping them into the slot, and they would automatically fall and sort into the stacks. And you just popped them out. So basically, you just had to sort them twice. And after you did, you just picked them up, sort them once, pick them up, sort them twice, and you're done. It took like 20 minutes to do like 4 boxes of cards. It was super awesome.
I guess it's the same thing, just I don't know if that's faster or not.
Well, as opposed to breaking it down
I feel like we should have a sort off or something to figure out which is the fastest method.
Well, maybe another time.
Okay. Well,
maybe next when we come back for collectible card games, maybe we'll do a sort off.
Yeah, we'll open them up and see how fast
we've wasted enough time talking about this crap now. We don't need to do that.
So if you're interested in anything you see here, or you want to see, I'm going to try to carry like such a ridiculous amount of various trading cards that it's going to be in 100.
He's got this dream of like this overwhelming display of trading cards, this like cornucopia of sheep flocking in the fields, but the fields are made of trading card packs. Yeah. I don't know how exactly.
It's going to rain on you. Yeah. That's what's going on.
But here's what do any of you guys collect trading cards nowadays? Are you guys buying, Garbage Pail Kids or My Little Pony? Are you trying to finish your Alf set? Or do you even care about the Pro Set Music Superstars?
Yeah, we'd love to hear about what sets you actually, or what cards you actually collected back then, which ones you haven't thought of, and which ones you'd like to see.
And are you buying them as packs, or do you tend to walk into stores and try to get the full case pack?
I want to know everything about trading cards that you know.
I want to know everything about your life.
And send a picture.
A little creepy.
Super creepy.
Alright, so, anyway.
Alright, we're done.
Alright, so we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with another exciting installment of Pop Culture Network, The Show.
What?
Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah. What?
What's going on?
Nothing.
You're doing that thing again where you're not supposed to do that?
Ooh, yeah.
Anywhere near me?
I'm just touching my Ouya controller.
Oh,
Ouya.
Yeah. Oh, yeah!
So, I bought an Ouya. I was going to buy a Masterpiece Soundwave on ToysRUs.com for San Diego Comic-Con, and they sold out like 4 hours before they were supposed to go on sale. So
You know I gotta say that?
So instead I went to Best Buy and bought an Ouya because I had $100 to kill. And, I have to say...
Wait a minute, what? You just had $100
That's right. Well, I saved up $100.
Well, I didn't realize you...
No use for it now, so...
You must have passed go and collected your money.
Bought an Ouya. Well, because I kind of wanted to get one for a while, and now I had an excuse to kind of go out and grab one. I have to say...
They are Toys R Us, huh?
For the most part, I have to say I like it overall, but I like it maybe 70%. There are some drawbacks to the machine, but I like it more than I dislike it.
Okay, well, first of all, tell us about what
the Ouya is the Kickstarter game console. Retails for $100. You get a console and a controller, and basically it runs Android, so you can run Android games on it. It has its own game store, and all the games are optimized for the Ouya, for looking on a big screen TV, and for using an actual controller.
Can you play Candy Crush?
I haven't tried that one yet.
Can you
but
play
here's the thing. Hold on. Games that can use a controller actually work really well. So like Grand Theft Auto 3 that they put on Android, you can actually put that on there, play it. It works pretty good. Granted, it's Grand Theft Auto 3. One of the big draws is that they remade Final Fantasy 3, and they put the remake of it on Ouya.
Oh.
So you can actually play it, and it's got modern graphics and everything,
nice.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
One of the key things about it, though, it has no Google Play Store. So you can't just log into your account and download whatever games you have. However, because it is running Android, someone found a workaround. If you go to XDA developers, which are the people that hack like all the cell phones and tablets, someone has a script. And you literally download 2 files, an APK and a zip file. and you load the APK, you hit the zip file, you run the batch, and it installs everything from the Google system. So you can get into the Google Play Store and download all that stuff. The controller...
If they don't do that automatically, though?
They have their own game store, so they want you to get their games, and they've been optimized for the HD TV and optimized for using the control pad on. Most of your games that you're going to use your phone or tablet, you just tap and touch. But they did build this controller. This is a Bluetooth controller, which is nice, and it's got a touchpad here. And this little touchpad you could use to manipulate on the screen. It works like having a Bluetooth mouse, if you've ever connected one to your thing. But it also has the tap feature. So you can move around and tap and move around and tap and play those type of games once you can install them. And it's very easy to, like, I take my phone and I find a game and I go, oh, I'd like to play that on the TV, and I do the backup. It drops it in my Dropbox folder. I go to my Ouya, open up the Dropbox folder, hit the file, and it automatically downloads it and installs it. So it's real easy to copy your games over from your phone or your tablet and put them on your Ouya system. So,
okay, why are you worried about your progress in your phone game? That you're carrying to put it in a back file drop?
You know, I have found that as I've gotten older, I've got kids, I have less time to game. I actually spend more time gaming in small chunks than I do. Like, I never have a chance to sit down. I've got Red Dead Redemption. I've had it for, 2 years that game's been out?
Probably more than that.
And I'm only, maybe a tenth of the way through the game, because I just never have time to sit down and play. It's like a lot of those games, like you start up your 360 or your PlayStation 3, you put in the game, it's got to load.
Okay.
You pick your game.
Okay.
So
No,
5-minute chunks of gaming, 10-minute chunks of gaming.
With that in mind, you decided to go out and buy a new gaming system.
Well, I wanted a new toy. It was an excuse to buy a new toy. I like gadgets.
Instead of staying home and not wasting this time right now.
You know me. You know I like gadgets. So it was just an excuse to buy another gadget. And I sideloaded stuff on there like Comixology, which is digital comics, which I know you love the idea of digital comics. And you can
You're ruining my life.
Pull it up and tap. Typing is kind of a pain, but I have a Bluetooth keyboard that I've used with PlayStation 3 and tablets and whatever, so I can pull that up and type in stuff.
Fancy.
Easier. It's got a built-in web browser, so that works okay. Basically, anything you can do on your phone or your tablet, you can do on the big screen TV. Games that are optimized for a controller play really well. And I play in those smaller chunks.
Does it play good, though? Is it?
Yeah, I haven't noticed issues.
Any weird delay or?
Not really. I mean, there are some times when you play a game like Grand Theft Auto 3, it's like you're running from the cops, you got the 4 helicopters, the 20 cop cars behind you, you're crashing through people, you're crashing over the fences, all that kind of stuff. And it may, stutter a little bit, but, I mean, it did that on PlayStation 2, It did that on PlayStation 3. It does that on whatever system. The controller itself is nice. It's got a nice shape to it. The buttons, you've got the...
So can you buy another controller separate?
You can.
Because what if you break that thing?
You can, but here's the thing. The console and the controller together is $99.
Okay.
If you want to buy a controller by itself, $49.95. Yeah. So it's like half the price of the console is the controller. But it is a nice controller. Like I said, it's got the touchpad, the tap, it's Bluetooth. The one downside on the controller is the D-pad, and that happens a lot. It's mushy. You try to go left or right, and a lot of times you're also going to hit that down. It's just going to kind of, slide around on you. So
it has the feel of a 360 controller.
It does.
In the design. The clicking buttons, the layout of the buttons are pretty much the same. The only thing that's not the same is, of course, this pad. It's a little loose. They need to make it a little tighter.
But it is super nice having that touchpad on there, because there are times, like when you go into the settings, it's just the straight up Android settings. So the same settings you're going to see on your phone or your tablet. And trying to maneuver down, 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 button, down, down, over, button, trying to get to your settings, you just take it and swipe and tap, swipe, tap, just like you would. So overall, again, there are some drawbacks to it. It only has 8 gigs, I think, of storage in there. So after you play 1,000 games, you're going to have to delete 1 or 2 to make room for more.
I'm sure there'd be a cloud service of some sort.
Yeah, and like I said, it works with Dropbox really well. So you can uninstall some games, but it'll still save your save files and then put them back on later if you want to and get back to them if you check stuff out. So again, some of the games from the Humble Bundle, yeah, I sideloaded those on there and they ran fine. Looked pretty good on there. So there's some good stuff out there that's coming on Android gaming, and it plays pretty well on the Ouya.
Ouya!
I hate you.
This is my favorite talking shirt. Whenever my wife is annoying me, I just like, yeah, you know, I can't say the things I say to her, but this is, you know.
Did you ever freak her out and do the Cobra Commander voice?
Like when she's yelling at me and like, I'm like, you know, something like that. She loves that.
So you're universally hated.
Oh yeah.
So
oh yeah. Hey, she married me. It's her fault.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's the Ouya.
All right.
I'm done talking about that. Done.
All right.
Next. Back. I'm Deathstroke. I'm walking around, looking around, jumping around like an idiot, apparently.
Hey, Flash.
You can't do my voice. Hey, Flash.
Hey, Deathstroke. Yeah, see? I slap you with the back of my hand.
Apparently, you're very slow, and you're from the 1930s.
Yeah, see? They made toys of us to go with the comics and the video games, see?
Well, apparently they made toys of us, so here we are.
This is the worst segment we've ever done in the history of the internet, see?
Don't tell on us, we're doing pretty good. Can we get a Webby?
We're number one! We're number one!
Ta-da, win.
Based off the hit video game Injustice: Gods Among Us, DC Collectibles has started this line of 3 3/4 inch figures depicting the characters in the game. As you can see, they come 2 to a pack, with the DC Peel logo being used as part of the box art. On one side, you can see the characters that come in the box along with the names of the sculptors, in case you're interested. On the back, you can see other characters available in that wave. Usually 4 are released at a time. And then on this side, you get character profile shots. I love these shots on the side of the box. But overall, you can see it's a pretty nice looking window display box, and the characters are posed inside. When you take the characters out of the box, you can see that the backdrop is actually a scene from the video game. Now, so far, there's only been 2 different scenes that they've used, and the scene depends on how deep the box is holding the characters. So, it is something nice that you can add to your shelf when displaying the figures. One of my biggest gripes about buying toys these days is how many twist ties they put on there. I mean, seriously, how many of these things do you need to keep your figures in place? And if you need that many, maybe you're doing something wrong. This took me like 2.5 minutes to untie. And with my big fat Vienna sausage fingers, it's almost impossible to get into some of the small nooks and crannies. This was a huge pain getting them out. I don't know if maybe they just, hate adults who buy toys. So when they make adult collector lines, they just put this stuff in there to piss you off and to let you know how little respect they have for you. Or maybe they're just so anal retentive about how their characters look in the package. But still, it's stupid. And this has got to stop. First character we'll take a look at here is Green Arrow. Now this is a nice looking figure. One of the things I love about this figure is that his bow actually has strings on it, and they can be pulled back. He's got a nice level of detail, and the paint application is actually pretty good on him. Overall, he's one of the better figures in the line, even though the quiver on his back does get a little bent. And because of the articulation, he can't actually grab his bowstrings. But you can see that overall he looks very nice. The detail just looks good and it's well painted. Overall, it's a fine figure. Now, one of my favorite characters in the New 52 is Deathstroke. And even though this is the Injustice version, I still like this figure a lot. It's got that iconic look of Deathstroke. It's got molded on weapons. Also comes with a giant freaking gun for him to shoot at you. Overall, it's a nice looking figure. Now, there is one thing to point out here, is on his back there's this little cutout on the ammo strap that goes with the cutout on his gun. This allows you to actually pop it onto his back so he can carry it around without having it in his hands, which is nice because the hands are molded. It makes it a little bit difficult to pop the gun in there sometimes. The Flash is another favorite character of mine, and seeing him here, he actually looks pretty good. He's got one molded hand to make it look like he's running, but the other one does have that cheap kung fu grip. You can see the armor here. One problem, though, with him is his feet. They are bent, and I can't tell why. There's no reason for it. You can kind of pose him so it's not as noticeable, but it is a pain. The female body types used in this line are a little wonky. This Wonder Woman here, because she's from Injustice, looks nothing like any Wonder Woman you know, but overall I have to say it's a pretty good look. The problem comes from with the arms in the midsection. They're so small, there's not a whole lot of articulation, so there's not a lot you can do. They did put a peg hole in her boot, so you can stand her up, and the detail is nice, and she's got some nice articulation, but overall kind of lacking compared to the others. Raven is probably the most disappointing figure in the bunch. For one thing, she's kind of hard to pose. Her cape and cowl are all connected together, which makes it difficult to pose her in any real type of situation. Secondly, her knees are kind of bowed out. You can't make them stand up straight. And she's got no peg holes in her feet. Because they're so skinny, it makes it really hard to stand her up. You can kind of lean her against the wall, but that's about the best you're going to be able to do with her as far as posing. And that sucks. Solomon Grundy, on the other hand, he kicks butt. This is a great looking figure. He's got a lot of added accessories and details to his outfit. And one of the neat things is he's got all of these knives stuck in his back, because he is basically a living zombie. In fact, one of the knives in his back you can pull out, and you can stick it in his hand. He's a giant hulking figure, and he really towers above the other figures in this line. Overall, he's a great looking figure, and probably one of the best of the Injustice line. Cyborg is a huge mixed bag in this line. He's a nice sculpt. Of course, he's a character that people really like, and so they put a lot of time and effort into giving him details. There's just one problem if you take a close look. You see how I've got his chest? That's not swagger. That's just a poorly put together figure. No matter how hard you twist, it's not going to line up. Which really kind of sucks because I wanted to like this figure a lot. So there's some give and there's some take in this line. Some of the figures are really neat, but it just feels like this is a half-produced line. Like maybe if they'd worked on it a little bit longer, they might have had something special, but for now, really feels amateurish, and it's really disappointing considering how cool the figures look.
I don't know, maybe I'm going out on a limb here, but I think there's more to Belgium than just waffles.
Legos, I guess.
Wait, those are from Belgium?
Yes.
Belgeland?
The Empire's People's Republic of Belgium. Is that the same thing? I don't think that's the same thing.
All right, we do have a couple questions from jointheforums.com, the official forums of the Pop Culture Network. A couple people have asked some questions that they wanted to know, so we can take an opportunity to answer them here before we close out the show for this week.
Well, we can do that, I guess.
All right, so first up, this is from Clone Yoshi. He says, I didn't know if I should have started this or not, but whatever. Do you guys think a Back to the Future line would have been awesome in the 80s and 90s with the potential variants of Marty and Doc in different eras' clothes and with famous historic figures? So Back to the Future toy line, and then they could do variants of like Old West Marty, 70s Doc, 60s hippie Doc, 1920s gangster Marty, and then you could have like an Abraham Lincoln and JFK.
Well,
and
clearly, but honestly, and this is the way I felt about Back to the Future toys, and because this has come up before and in the past of I think Mattel was supposed to do something, and I don't think they did.
Did they do some animated figures? They did like one wave of
I
animated
felt like they were supposed to. I don't know. I didn't see them ever. But the point is,
Mini-Mates.
I think the only way this works, I mean, aside from releasing the cars, which they have, I only see a Marty McFly and a Doc Brown box set for some kind of
like a NECA
con exclusive,
like a NECA style box set.
Yeah, which is
6-inch figures.
It would have to be like a con exclusive, and that's pretty much it. I mean, I really don't think people care enough
Well,
in any significant number that would justify a whole toy line to buy random other characters in the show. Because everybody loves Back to the Future. Everybody loves it. But I don't think I want a toy for it.
Although, I mean, on the one hand, they've done pretty good with like the flux capacitor, and the Mr. Fusion prop replicas, license plates,
the merchandise
the
makes a lot of sense. I mean, to me, I want stickers and I want those replicas, and if I actually owned a car, that'd be awesome. A DeLorean, that'd be awesome. But I don't really care about the figures.
So you think it works more as like a high dollar prop replica as opposed to a mass market cheap toy line?
I mean, it works more in the merchandise area.
Because the people who care, there aren't as many people who care about Back to the Future as there would say G.I. Joe. But the people who care about Back to the Future care about it more than G.I. Joe, so they're willing to pay a high dollar for a nice collectible, as opposed to the guys who are going to the store and paying $6 for a little.
Well, you have to remember, most action figures are, necessarily they're toys. And do you think kids want to play with that? They don't. So, this obviously would have to be a adult collector line. However, as an adult who collect them, I would like to see a Marty McFly. I'd like to see a Doc Brown, but I don't really. Maybe a Biff. Maybe, but
Biff.
No one really cares. Like, I don't.
Do you think it would have done okay though back in the era when the animated series was on if they did a big line during that time period?
Maybe
it was big enough to get video games and an animated series.
Yeah, maybe.
Although so did Swamp Thing, and his toy line didn't do that.
It would have been one of those lines that came out and then kind of like Jackie Chan's New Adventures or whatever. There was toys, but it kind of went away really fast.
Right.
So yeah, I think it would have worked, but I don't think it would have survived.
Okay, that's fair. All right. Next up from Belgian Lego Man. Hey guys. First off, I want you guys to know that I kind of miss It Figures.
Get over it.
No more weekly toy talk on Wednesdays. The new show is really on track, I guess. One simple question.
I guess.
Where's the replacement of It Figures? Where's our toy talk show is what he wants to know. Where's the show of just us complaining every week about toys?
Honestly, one of the big reasons that It Figures went down is because we've reached close to 200 episodes, and the viewership started going. And honestly, every week is a little tolling on us.
A lot of it was us saying the same stuff again and again and again. It was like, oh, here's more Masters of the Universe bad news. Like, oh, here's more $300 Transformers. And like, we would just complain about the same stuff over and over. We get excited, but we were getting excited about the same stuff over and over. And it was like, we would talk about something when it's announced. We'd talk about something when it goes up for pre-order. We'd talk about something when it starts, actually hitting shelves or being mailed out. And then we talk about it when people get it in their hands and they're actually complaining about it. So it's like, after a while, it's like, we've talked about everything 3 or 4 times already. And it's just like we're going over the same stuff over and over. So I like the idea of doing some sort of talk type show, but honestly, I think it's more of a podcast thing. It doesn't work as well as video. I would love to do like a daily, like radio style talk show with people calling in and that kind of stuff. I think that'd be awesome, but I don't know how to put that together. I don't know how to regulate that.
And honestly, that would be easier for us to do. We would be able to do that weekly without taking too much of our time away, which is basically the.
I would love someone to pay me.
Issue.
Just go ahead and pay me like $10,000 a month, and I'll do it every day for 2 hours.
You do that.
If someone would do that, shh. I'm building it up so they can come in with a lower offer and we can negotiate.
$50 in a Snickers bar would get it done. Okay. Let's not lie.
But there are some things to take into consideration. One of them was that the viewership did drop. Because it was at a certain level for that new Toy Smell. We transitioned over to It Figures, but It Figures was a different type of show. And that new Toy Smell had been set up as like you could watch it anytime, but you didn't have to watch it like that week. Right. You go back after a year and go back and watch it. Whereas It Figures was a very like time sensitive, like it was good for that week, but then after a week or so, it wasn't necessarily anything you would go back and listen to.
I know some of you guys did actually go back and listen to it go back and listen to old episodes and stuff. Sometimes I do when I'm, working in the middle of the night. I might go back and listen to a couple episodes because, they're funny sometimes. But, with as much as we did, we were in as weekly, it just started going, it's getting stale. It was just getting stale.
Yeah.
So we're going to do this, and, eventually we'd like to make this a little more frequent. But for right now, we're doing what we can do. because it's better than not doing nothing.
And one thing to keep in mind is that the show, as you see it now, this is not our vision.
Yeah.
And this isn't exactly what we wanted to do, but what we want to do was taking so long to get together that we went ahead and started it.
Yeah.
But there will be changes coming, and hopefully in the next 2 months, you're going to see a massive change happen. And when that happens, that's going to be more in line with what we had originally envisioned.
Yeah, like we want a dedicated studio area, and we want it, where everything's nice, and we don't have to just randomly set up in the middle of the store like we're doing. So, but yeah, we have bigger changes to make this better, and we're going to improve on it, and we want to get that new toy smell kind of thing going where you can watch this anytime. Is for good forever.
But also have it open to things like video games and comic books, so it's not just toys.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of you guys out there that like that other stuff too. So we're hoping we can kind of start to dabble into that.
And let's face it, if you're collecting comics, you're probably collecting toys.
And if you're collecting toys, you're probably playing video games.
I mean,
it's just all kind
be
of
real.
together.
Be real, guys. Come on.
In fact, if you're playing,
telling me you collect toys and you hate movies?
Hey, what'd you think of This Is the End? By the way,
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I liked it. It's
All
funny.
right.
It was funny. It was a lot better than I expected, and it was a lot funnier than I expected.
Yeah.
How about that?
It held up a lot better, I thought. Like, I thought for sure after about the 45-minute mark, it was going to die off and be...
What'd you think about Jurassic Park 3? I never got your opinion.
I never saw Jurassic Park 3.
What?
Yeah, I know. Never saw it.
Did you see Part 1?
I saw Part 1. I saw Part 2.
And you never saw 3?
Never saw 3.
Why?
Because 2 was so terrible. I heard people say that 3 was better than 2, but I hated 2 so much I just never went back.
Wow.
And
that is nerd hate.
The first Jurassic Park I thought was kind of cool at the time, and I saw it a couple times like in the theater when it came out, because we used to have the dollar movie theater.
Yeah.
So we had the dollar movie theater. I was seeing movies like 3 times a week. But it's one of those things where now it's like I try to go back and watch it, and I'm just like, it's no Tron. I mean, that's for sure.
Yeah, and you know how I feel about Tron? Terrible. Terrible. Terrible.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching the show. Don't forget to come to popculturenetwork.com. You can check out more news, reviews, and other awesome stuff there. You can also follow us on Twitter at PopCultureNet. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/PopCultureNetwork. We're on Tumblr as Popculture Network, or PopCultureNet, I'm not sure. Look for both on Tumblr. We're either one.
We're on Tumblr?
Yeah, we're on Tumblr.
What's that do?
I don't know.
I don't even know what that
I have
is.
no idea.
Okay.
We're also on Google+, but it doesn't have a cool name. It's just like
and no one cares.
plus.google.com/u/o/. A lot of people like Google+. And actually, it's easier to post to Google+, and then set up a script to automatically repost on Twitter and Facebook than to try to do it the other way.
Oh, so they got to give their posting abilities to other sites because they suck.
Other people are there. Your mom's on Pinterest. But we don't have a Pinterest page yet.
She doesn't even
If someone wants to set up a Pinterest page for us, knock yourself out, send us the link. We'll talk about it. But also, you can call our 24-hour voicemail line.
Oh.
It's area code 217-953-4025. You can leave up to a 10-minute message. We listen to each and every one of them, no matter how horrible and rambling they sometimes get. But when you're driving home and you just want to call us and tell us how much you hate Digital River, we do listen to each and every one of those messages.
Especially while you're drunk. Drunk driving.
Actually, the drunk ones are pretty cool. Sometimes people sing us songs or write poems.
Drunk dialing
when they're drunk. They're drunk dialing our voicemail line. That's pretty cool.
All right.
Yeah. One guy even called us from the toilet. And that was pretty nice.
That's
He's like,
very considerate.
He told us he was just taking a break from his workday and wanted to let us know that he enjoyed the stuff. And then he flushed. So kind of put a nice little
Just
bow
tell your
on
boss you're on a very important business call and call us at your work.
Yeah. So there
How
you
about
go. All right. So, is that going to do it?
That's it.
Anything else?
Nope, I'm done.
You want to plug shoppcn.com?
You can go there. I'm working on changing that.
Yeah, that needs an overhaul.
That's getting overhauled really soon. I'm working on it. Actually, a company's working on it for me, not me. So that'll be dramatically changed. So go there. Remember, shoppcn.com. Everything you see in the background. We are a legit store, and you can come visit us too if you're in the Springfield, Illinois area. You can go to killenterprises.com and you can find out all about the store. We would like to meet you. A lot of people do come travel to our store, come buy some stuff, and hang out and talk to us.
Ooh, dead or alive, you're coming with me. Ooh.
So if you come in, we'd love to see you. And for all you guys overseas, we do ship this anywhere in the world. We ship anything, everything.
Anything and everything?
We
Wait,
even ship our pants.
you just shipped your pants.
I ship my pants.
Will you send PlayStation 3 game consoles to Iraq?
No.
Oh.
Yes.
What?
Probably.
North Korea?
I wish.
Afghanistan?
Afghanis.
Although
They love
you do ship stuff to military bases, don't you?
all the time. Yeah, all over the place.
Yeah.
My boys.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time. Do you have a big red handprint underneath that shirt from when I slapped you?
I can make one.
Can you feel it?
No.